What up, YouTube, what up? This is Moose coming at you. It's from Mr. Herb. This is my cooling system practical and lubricating system practical. I'll start with the cooling system. I'll show the location of each part, then I'll explain how it all works. So I'll start with the coolant temp sensor. This right here, that's the coolant temp sensor. That's on top of the engine because that's where the hottest coolant is, and it would read the hottest coolant. Under here, that right there is the thermostat housing, and underneath that is the thermostat, and right above that, it's a little bit hard to see, that's where the bypass to on top of it, that's where the bypass to passages or gallery, and right underneath it, underneath this cover right here, you can't really see it unless you take all this out, the tensioner and the serpent belt. Underneath that you will find the water pump. So basically there's two different currents of this that goes on. One when the engine is just cold and it's trying to reach operating temperature, where it goes from through the engine from the water pump along the heater core lines, which is underneath here. Goes right here. That's the heater core lines. Then comes back from those lines, then re-siphons through the bypass line from underneath here. You can't really see it, have a good look at it, and then circulates. That's when the engine's just warming up, and once it reaches top operating temperature, the thermostat will open up, which will open up the lower line. Comes back from the heater core, open up the line, comes into the radiator, or goes into the radiator, then comes out from the bottom and recycles again. We went over the thermostat, water pump, heater core. Heater core is going to be in front of the passenger seat, underneath everything inside the upper radiator hose. Lower radiator hose is underneath there. I believe it's downflow, not crossflow, but I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it's downflow. Temp temperature. The coolant fan relay is actually under here, but it's really hard to reach because you'd have to take all this off, and it's just because there's two bolts in the back, but it's under here and underneath here. Leak points would be either in the water pump, any of the hoses, radiator, the sides of the radiator, and perhaps the coolant temp sensor. So if the thermostat is completely seized shut and it doesn't want to open up, what would happen is that once the engine reach operating temperature, it won't stay there. It would keep heating up, and it will over like 5 or 10 minutes it will overheat, causing the engine, bad emissions, bad operating engine, and it could cause engine failure. So if the thermostat was slightly seized fully open, it won't overheat right away, but under load, if you're going through highway speeds or going uphill where you need a lot of the engine, that's where it would overheat. And if the thermostat was seized fully wide open, it would never reach operating temperature, and it would just stay cool the whole time, and that would cause bad emission, and running the engine cold is not good for the engine. List the condition of Volkswagen plastic water pump impeller that was not turning. Over time, the plastic gets brittle and cracks and breaks and goes and just free spins pretty much from it, and causing to premature failure way faster than metal water pumps. So I'll talk a bit about the fans. We got a Fiskis fan here that runs through using the belt, and AC fan that only turns on when the AC is on. So I believe that's it for the cooling system. I'll go on to the lubricating system. Lubricating system oil pressure switch will be the oil pressure switch.
Just starting the video.